every story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Hello and welcome to Midnight Update. I am Omotayo Alo. President Muhammad Buhari said on Friday that Nigerians should be patient and accept democracy not as a system of government, but as a lifestyle in order to ensure development of the country. The president said this when he paid homage to the Emir of Daura, Umar Farouk Umar, after attending the Jumat prayer at the low-cost mosque in Daura, Katsina State. The president, who delivered the speech in Alsa, urged those who were aggrieved after the 2015 elections to seek redress through democratic means and institutions. Buhari noted that Nigeria was adopting democracy from the Western nations and learning fast by avoiding mistakes made when studying the weaknesses and strengths of the nations. According to him, if Nigerians decide to be hasty, some avoidable mistakes can be made. Buhari urged that elections at all levels must be conducted based on democratic principles. He urged those interested in elected positions to look for a political party or of their choice, declare their interest, and the party would support them. The president said that in 2002, when he joined politics, many people did not give him a chance because they knew his antecedents as a military officer. He added that the 2015 polls has clearly shown that it is God that chooses who becomes a leader. Buhari added that he decided to contest elections because of his commitment to serve the people and not to be served or to amass wealth. Senate President Bukola Saraki says the federal lawmakers are resolved to make sacrifices in light of the current economic situation of the country. He added that his tenure in the National Assembly will be a period of relief for the people of Nigeria. He made this known after a closed-door meeting with former President Olusegun Obasanjo in Abeokuta. The report. The closed-door meeting, which lasted 2 hours at the Abeokuta Hilltop residence of the former President Olusegun Obasanjo, ended on a positive note with assurance of a pleasant time for Nigeria and Nigerians. Speaking after it all, Bukola Saraki says the federal lawmakers are not insensitive to the financial challenges of the country and as such are prepared to take austerity measures.
Last time it was about 150 billion, it has come down to 120 billion. I think, look, the situation in the country deserves now that every public servant will almost make sacrifices, and whatever sacrifices is necessary, we will do it.
On the crisis rocking his party, the All Progressives Congress, as a result of ease and Yakub Dogara's emergence as leaders of the National Assembly, he says all will soon be over.
As you can see, things are moving smoothly. Definitely, be rest assured that all that will be behind us very shortly.
Also in attendance at the meeting with the former president are Ahmed Yerima, Andy Uba, Tayo Alashwadura and Danjuma Goje, former governor of Osun State Olagunsoye Oyinlola, and former acting national chairman of the PDP, Kawu Baraji. Thousands of people have thronged the Lorry International Airport to receive the Senate President Bukola Saraki. Saraki, who is coming into the state for the first time after his emergence as President of the Senate of the 8th National Assembly on the 9th of this month, was received by people from different segments of the society. Rashid has more on this report from Ilorin.
Saraki, who arrived in Ilorin on board an aircraft from the presidential fleet with the inscription Nigeria Air Force 5N FGV, touched down at the Ilorin International Airport ground at about 20 minutes to 2 in the afternoon into the midst of a jubilant crowd. The Senate President, fresh from his meeting with former President Olusegun Obasanjo, was accompanied to the stage with Danjuma Goje, Ahmed Sani Yerima, and Uba, former governor of Osun State Olagunso Oyinlola, and a chieftain of the APC, Abubakar Kawu Baraje. He later left for the Ilorin Central Jumat Mosque to give glory to God for his emergence as Senate President. With the prayers over, he proceeded the short distance to the Emir's palace, where he thanked all Kwaras for their maximum support before and after his emergence.
I want to use this opportunity to thank you, to thank the entire people of Kwara State for the effort. My colleagues that were in the Senate have left because they have to go back. They're still around. I want to use this opportunity to thank them immensely. And this are what you call loyal, reliable, dependable, courageous people. These are men of principle, men of honor. These are men that stood firm for justice, equity, and truth. They have shown that they are friends and lovers of us here in Kwara State. And I think that there is no words enough to thank them, because they were with us in this journey. I want to, on behalf of my own, considering all of us, to thank them immensely for what they've done.
The scion of the Saraki political dynasty of Ilorin emerged the Senate President in dramatic circumstances on the 9th of June. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ilorin.
The national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, John Odigwe Oyegu, has assured Nigerians that the party is working round the clock to resolve the crisis that had rocked it in recent times. The APC chairman has risen to the defense of the party's national publicity secretary, Lai Mohammed, who is being vilified in his hometown of Kwara for signing the statement conveying the party's reaction to the election of the National Assembly leadership on June 9th. Odigwe Oyegu said Lai Mohammed's statement was issued with the knowledge and consent of the party, hence it would be wrong for anyone to make him a sacrificial lamb for carrying out his party responsibilities. With the result of the 2015 elections, throwing up Muhammad Buhari as the president, raising the expectations of most Nigerians that the nation is truly headed for a definite change. But a few weeks after his assumption of office, residents of Jos, the Plateau State capital, have been speaking on the expectation of the new government. Our correspondent in the state filed in this report as presented from our studios. It's been 2 weeks and counting since the swearing-in of Muhammad Buhari as president, and with the failure to form a government to put in place any major appointment to give a clue to the direction of his administration, many Nigerians and Jos, the Plateau State capital, are giving their take on what they expect of his administration.
So when people are full, when people are eating very well, you see that there will be peace everywhere. So he should think of the masses, pay salaries, at least give the workers their wages. If somebody should work and he will not see his salary, it's very bad. So Buhari should look at the masses and pay salaries so that they will give people the most important things like electricity, water, and other things. Let them think of the masses. That is what I want this new government to do.
While many Nigerians wait for the formation of the cabinet, the will of the government to fight the war against graft is one that borders this Jos resident.
This is sad. We are just pleading. We are just pleading with the appropriate authorities to help, to bring this menace to a halt, because people have died as a result of what is going on. And a lot of families are going on hungry because of what is happening on the plateau and in the country at large.
While the petrol queues persist even after several promises by the government and marketers, that it will soon end, many wonder if things will actually return to normal.
Hi. Okay, we expect the new government, as in Buhari, to at least listen to the voice of the masses. They should think of the masses at least. When you are not, when you are hungry, they said a hungry man is an angry man. So you will see that people will be fighting themselves. They will not be patient, and you see that there will be no peace.
But while the president continues with his work, many are beginning to wonder why the government has not been firmed. Nigeria can be the leading economy in Africa and among the top 20 in the world, if only it can overcome the challenges of leadership. This came to light in a seminar which focused on Africa's Big Five for the title Power and Influence in Africa. Centers among 5 African countries, including Algeria, Egypt, Ethiopia, Nigeria and South Africa, shows that over 60% of Africa's economy is in its population power. Amina Nebe has more on this story as presented from our studios.
The Executive Director of Institute for Security Studies, ISS South Africa, Jackie Chida, said with the possible exception of Nigeria, African countries will remain minor powers in issues of global governance.
It's much easier for Nigeria and for Ethiopia to grow rapidly because you come off a much lower base. The major factor at the level of development that most poor countries in Africa are, the most important factor that improves your economy is in actual fact the move from people from subsistence agriculture to urban areas.
Speaking on the importance of the seminar to newsmen, Kaduna State Governor Nasir Rufai said the government is committed to driving a workable economy.
It is quite clear the trajectory of Nigeria, if we remain on course and do the right things, we are going to be the most influential economy in Africa and among the top 20 economies in the world. I think it's a positive message, but we shouldn't confuse potential with reality. We need to keep working hard and doing the right things.
It is a very, very educative and enlightening seminar, and I believe that we have learned a lot. And of course, from what the presenter had presented, we have a lot more to do in Nigeria to get to the level that we're projecting for our country.
Major thing is the leadership. Africa, you know, we are back simply because our leaders has failed us. So I'm 100% sure with this new government in Nigeria, we will see how we can change.
There is a new horizon now, new government coming in, lots of expectations, and we believe with organizing events like this nature, bringing expertise, rubbing minds, really is creating a lot of awarenesses and a kind of a wake-up call to all the people that are going to be in charge, right from the government, local government level up to the national level.
Commenting the effort of the organizer, Senator Karbis Geya believed the high-profile personalities at the event will attract investment for its sustainable growth in Nigeria.
Well, it's excellent. It's somebody who is an experienced man, Aliu Gusau, is trying to put his wealth of experience in trying to portray a good governance. And good governance means progress for Nigeria. A good governance means redirecting Nigeria. And General Buhari came now with a change. So we want to change corruption, we want to change indiscipline, we want to make sure Nigerians are committed to the interests of Nigeria. And I think General Gusau is on course on what the Nigeria wants to be.
Though with a projection that Africa will contribute only about 7% to global influence by 2040, the Big Five powerhouse of the continent can shape the future of Africa given their size and population.
The tribunal hearing cases emanating from the National and State House of Assembly elections in Ekiti State has started a substantive hearing. First to be aired is the case between Tony Adeniyi challenging the victory of Abiodun Olujimi at the Ekiti South senatorial election. Adeniyi and the APC called for the disqualification of Olujimi for not resigning a position as the non-executive member of the Nigerian Communications Commission while she contested. Rashid has more.
Following the March 28th National Assembly election in Ekiti State, The Ekiti State Election Petition Tribunal, having concluded pre-trial, begins its substantive hearing. The first case to be called was that filed by the candidate of the All Progressives Congress for Ekiti South Senatorial District, Tony Adeniyi, challenging the eligibility of Abiodun Olujimi of the PDP on the grounds that Olujimi did not resign her appointment at the Nigeria Communications Commission as at the time she contested for the Senate seat.
She didn't resign. She was still in employment when she contested the election. And we knew the trick. The trick is that in this type of situation, people in employment that ought to resign won't resign. And at the end of it, if they lose the election, they will go back.
They probably didn't know because I wasn't a staff of the NCC. I wasn't on their payroll. I wasn't on their nominal role. I was a non-executive commissioner. And as a non-executive commissioner, because I was appointed by the president, I had a right to resign to the president through the minister, which I did.
Counsels to the petitioner and respondent explained the viewpoint of their clients and what they intend to achieve before the tribunal.
She gives 3 months notice. The constitution says 30 days notice to the election. Well, too bad. There's no way to it because it means she has not even resigned until June 4, that is after the election. So our prayer is that Doctor should be, the chief, Senator Adeniyi, should be declared the winner.
It's a simple thing from the constitution. She had 30 days, she has given 30 days. And it's as simple as clear as that. They know that. I don't know why they are here, but let's continue with them.
As the substantive hearing on the case is reaching its conclusion, further hearing has been adjourned till July 16 for adoption of the final written addresses of all parties. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ado Ekiti.
We'll take a break now and we'll be back with more stories. Don't go away.
That's a sign of protest, saying that things are not good.
Women share the most amazing thoughts.
When it's close to the time, our people will protest
on national issues.
That was their own point.
That was an accident. That is different.
And they do it
Politics is about being a servant.
passionately.
Without a woman, there will be no success at all.
Sharing the adorable word of women.
There are some women who have what it takes.
In politics.
Margaret Thatcher, Iron Lady. When she's too soft, she's too soft.
Only on CoreTV News.
Welcome back. For more news and information, do well to visit our social media page, facebook.com/CoreTV News, and our Twitter handle at CoreTV News NG, and our YouTube channel, youtube.com/CoreTV News. As part of efforts aimed at providing the people of Imo State with good infrastructure and ensure the financial independence of the State House of Assembly has asked oil companies operating in the state to pay the over 40 billion naira tenement rate owed. Moving the motion for the payment of the debt, Henry Ezediaro, member representing Uguta constituency, says the payments will help the state in meeting its obligations. Correspondent Ajibade Ofeso has more in this report from Owerri.
The Imo State House of Assembly has displayed its readiness to discharge its duties to the people of the state with a call on oil companies to pay up tenement rates owed the state, which have not been paid since 1978. Victor Onyebuchi, member representing Owerri West constituency, while supporting the motion in an interview with CoreTV News, has this to say on the matter.
We are supposed to be paying annually for occupying, for using the state land that was entrusted to the executive governor of the state to hold. So it's a constitutional matter. It's a constitutional matter that they should pay it annually. Apart from paying their taxes, they should also pay their...
He added that if such amount of money is paid to the state, it will be a game changer that will help in providing empowerment for the youth and other social amenities. He says it will also go a long way in easing the economic crisis in the state.
Imagine when 40 billion or thereabouts will be injected into the economy of the state. Definitely, all the promises, all the policies of our able governor will be realized within the first quarter of this administration. We are now.
However, the State House of Assembly will sit again next week to conclude the deliberation on how the debt will be recovered. Ajibade Awofeso, CoreTV News, Owerri.
The salary crisis rocking Osun State is again taking a new twist as the state's doctors have called for the resignation of Governor Ralph Aregbesola. This call was made at a protest led by the Association of Resident Doctors, lamenting the non-payment of their salaries for over 7 months. Rashid has more from Osogbo.
It is no more news that the Osun State government, like some others, owe its civil servants over 7-month salaries. But those on the receiving end of the non-payment of salaries have made several attempts to get the government to pay. But the Association of Resident Doctors of the Ladoke Akintola University Teaching Hospital has taken it to another level. The resident doctors, in a peaceful protest in Osogbo led by their president Olalekan Ajayi and some former officials of the Nigeria Labour Congress, said the state is fast becoming a refugee camp with donation of foodstuffs by all sorts of people and organizations.
Workers in the state that are now refugees. I think we don't have Boko Haram in Osun State. But what is happening in Osun State is even more worse than Boko Haram now. Because when families cannot feed when people cannot feed their families, then we are in serious problem. So what is important is that the issue of giving us food is not even the solution. Because if they brought the rice now for the month of June, for the month of July, will the rice again be brought to the people for distribution? If let them come for the month of June, for July, will it be continuous? So the question is just a carryover effect. That the problem of Ghana is a carryover effect. If the problem is solved today, will it be solved tomorrow?
Chanting protest songs, the doctor troops to the streets, causing a traffic gridlock along the busy Station Road area of the state capital to show their grievances. The doctors with placards bearing different inscriptions lament the non-payment of salaries by the state government. This, they say, has brought untold hardship to the people of the state, while the call on Ralph Aregbesola to either pay up or resign.
People are not being paid for 8 months. And how do the government, a responsible government in a state like ours, expect people to live? We are appealing, and I repeat, we are appealing that the government should do the needful at this appropriate time to ensure workers are paid. That is why they are there as government.
The protesters, however, call on stakeholders and well-meaning Nigerians in the state and beyond to prevail on Governor Aregbesola to pay workers their salaries to stop further hardship currently the lot of state government workers in the state. Rashid, CoreTV News, Osogbo.
Young women in Nigeria have been charged to rise above the circumstances in the society and aspire to be leaders in all spheres of life. Executive Director, Young Stars Foundation, Kingsley Bangwell, challenged women to be more active in the political sphere and all the leadership platforms. Bangwell, who addressed the gathering of young women from different walks of life within the age bracket of 18 to 35, reeled out the problems that Nigeria currently faces and enjoined women who, from the highest population in Nigeria, to rewrite the history of Nigeria by being change agents. The report. Women must be encouraged to lead a life of impact and aspire to make a name that will be remembered for greatness and influence, so says Kingsley Bangwell of the Young Stars Foundation, who spoke at the reasons for organizing the Summit for Young Women.
I believe there is issue of social perception, and that social perception is also affecting women's self-esteem. And I feel that one of the things that we can do is we can help young women build self-confidence and then be able to challenge the social perception by demonstrating their capacity to also deliver greatness, competence, capacity, and excellence in whatever they do.
Mufuliat Fijabi, a gender specialist with the UNDP Democratic Governance for Development, during the session also focused on key social, political, and development issues affecting young women.
If that's their choice, then that's fine. But they should not be compelled to do a particular job because of their age.
As participants prepare to take on the challenge, the world keenly waits to see moves by the new administration of President Muhammad Buhari to provide a government of inclusion for the women folk, both old and young. Omotayo Alo, CoreTV News. Following the incessant occurrences of tanker explosions leading to loss of lives and property, the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, Owerri Operational Office, said the agency will continue to do its best to ensure that such happenings are prevented at best, minimize the impact when they occur.
Like any other major city in Nigeria, Owerri, capital of Imo State, also witnessed a daily traffic of empty or fully laden tankers conveying petroleum products. But with this comes the inevitable danger of accident and explosions, which has happened in several parts of the country recently. With this in mind, the Imo State Operational Office of the National Emergency Management Agency has called on residents of the city and the state in general to be vigilant and avoid contact with such vehicles as much as possible.
Having said that, I want to say that the incessant accident involving petrol tankers across the country is a national tragedy that requires national response, and that's very urgent. For this problem of petrol tanker accidents, is for our petroleum products to be moved by the rail, through the rail. That is one way of solving the problem. In most advanced countries, you don't see tanker on the road carrying flammable substance.
The coordinator of the agency also added that the agency is well equipped to handle all sorts of eventualities.
The emergency management is a teamwork. So we have the capacity, we have the emergency units of NEMA, search and rescue. We have the ambulance service. We have ambulance, but we also work in partnership with hospitals that has ambulance. Should in case ours is not enough, we leverage on what they have. We try as much as possible to be on ground.
Some members of the staff of the agency also talked about their readiness to work to ensure that emergencies are tackled.
We have an able leader, an able coordinator, an able head who has traveled far and wide, who has seen things, who is well knowledgeable and experienced enough. And by the time this place was given to us, he went around, looked at it. This place, if you see before, you won't even cross the gate. In fact, in the first place, it doesn't have gate. And it has made our staff here so comfortable.
The agency, however, says it is working to avert most of these disasters before they occur. Ajibade Awofeso, CoreTV News, Owerri.
The Nigerian Army has launched an internal investigation into recent war crimes allegations levied by Amnesty International against some senior military officers. This, according to the Army authorities, has dampened the morale of soldiers and distracted troops from ongoing offensive against insurgents. Paya Samuel has more in this report.
On June 3, 2015, Amnesty International released a report indicting the Nigerian military of gross human rights abuse and extrajudicial killing of civilians in the course of the war against insurgency. But the military has continued to describe the claims as a repetition of similar allegations leveled against its officers and men since 2011. It argued that there are no new facts in the new allegations by the rights group, except the casualty figures it released, which have now risen to 8,000.
For the avoidance of doubt, the Amnesty International allegation of human rights abuse and extrajudicial killing of civilians are a rehash of the same allegations made against the military since 2011. No new facts have been unearthed by Amnesty International to warrant their repeated allegations. However, the figure adduced by Amnesty International as victims of extrajudicial killing by the military has kept on increasing, from 4,600 to 8,000 and even as high as 13,000 civilians.
But to ensure transparency in discharging its duties, the military authorities say investigations have begun into the war crimes claims. Nigeria's military leaders also insisted that they have a constitutional and moral responsibility to protect the citizenry.
The military requested Amnesty International to provide a member for the investigation panel to look into the allegations, but the invitation was not honored by Amnesty International. The military has a constitutional and moral responsibility to protect Nigerian citizens and cannot suddenly engage in mass murder as portrayed by Amnesty International allegation. It will be recalled that upon the written request from Amnesty International to the military to comment on the allegations, the military promptly commenced investigation into these allegations.
The military claims that Amnesty International was invited to join the investigation panel, but the rights group has not honored the invite. For now, it is going ahead with its inquiry, which it says also include forensic investigation into all the claims. Pius Samuel, CoreTV News, Abuja.
A federal high court in Lagos has given the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission the go-ahead to prosecute 14 foreigners for illegal oil bunkering. Justice Ibrahim Buba issued the order when he dismissed an application filed by the foreigners seeking to squash a 4-count charge preferred against them on the basis that the prosecution did not secure and obtain a written consent of the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, in line with the provisions of the Exclusive Economic Zone Act of Nigeria. In his ruling, Justice Buba said that the court did not find any merit in the application. Earlier, the EFCC, through its counsel Rotimi Oyedepo, opposed the application by arguing that it was statutorily empowered to prosecute the alleged offenders. Meanwhile, trial commenced in the matter immediately with the first prosecution witness, Captain Chidozie Okedi, commanding officer of the Nigerian sailing ship Centenary, narrating how the foreigners were arrested on March 8, 2015 during a routine patrol within Lagos territorial waters. Okedi said that some checks and documents of the vessel show that it was carrying about 3,000 metric tons of LPFO and about 1,500 metric tons of automotive gas oil. The vessel was, however, not registered with the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA. After hearing to the narration of the arrest of the vessel, Justice Buba adjourned the case to June 23, 2015 for continuation of trial. And also we have Abuja. Nigerians on Friday joined the rest of the international community to celebrate the 2015 World Sickle Cell Day. In Abuja, health experts were at the National Hospital where they rallied support for more funding for research into the ailment. This, they say, is with a view to finding better ways of reducing new cases in the country.
With people, organizations that tell us what we can do to improve and manage the situation. While on the other hand, the disease is actually financially challenging. I came from a poor background, and my own case is because of the ignorance of my parents as I've been. Because of what happened in my family line, it prompted in me a desire to find out more on what is responsible for this kind of issue.
Talking about reducing number will take some years, but something that is possible. We can reduce the number of children that suffer from sickle cell anemia or sickle cell disease. But it's going to take a collective effort, not only of the doctors or health workers, but of the whole community as a whole. We need to take some hard decisions, which will sound very controversial. But we have to be very careful with these decisions. But the most important thing to do, if you want to prevent sickle cell from spreading, is that people who are carriers, who have the gene in them, must be ready to accept the fact that they may not be able to marry others with a similar gene.
Carriers of sickle cell anemia have taken the protest against the Edo State government to the next level by disrupting the 2015 World Sickle Cell Day celebration organized by the State Ministry of Health. The carriers said they were unhappy with the state government that has been insensitive to their plight despite all effort to make them listen. Our Edo State correspondent has more in this report and presented from our studios. Well, we take another break now, and when we come back, we'll be back with business, sport, and stories from outside Nigeria. Do well to stay tuned.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on Digit 360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
Welcome back, and onto the foreign scene. The man suspected of shooting dead 9 people at an African-American church in Charleston, South Carolina is due to make his first court appearance. Dylan Roof, 21, was detained more than 200 miles away in North Carolina and flown back to Charleston. Police are treating the killings as a hate crime. Prayer vigils have been held in the churches in Charleston and across the U.S. for the 6 women and 3 men who died in the Wednesday night shooting. Churches in Charleston were full to overflowing on Thursday evening as prayer services were held. Dylan Roof is due to appear in court via video link for a bail hearing on Friday. It's been held at a detention center in the Charleston area, the county sheriff's office said. He was detained on Thursday after police acting on a tip-off stopped his car in Shelby, North Carolina. He waived his right to extradition and was flown back to South Carolina. Police had earlier released CCTV images to the shooting suspect and the dark saloon car he had driven away in. Rose's social media profile suggests he was interested in white supremacy. And on to business, fears are growing over the health of Greek banks after indications that savers have withdrawn billions of euros in the past week. Capital flight from beleaguered Greek banks this week alone could be more than 4 billion naira, reports say. Savers are moving funds as time runs out to resolve Greece's debt crisis. The European Central Bank has approved more emergency help for the banks and will review funding again on Monday, officials told news agencies. The amount of extra funding has not been officially disclosed. The pace of withdrawals has gained speed as talks between the government and its creditors have collapsed. Greece has less than 2 weeks remaining to strike a deal or face defaulting a 1.6 billion naira loan repayment due to the International Monetary Fund. If it fails to make the payment, it risks having to leave the Eurozone and possibly also the EU. But the European Commission, the IMF and the ECB are unwilling to unlock bailout funds until Greece agrees to reforms. They want Greece to implement a series of economic changes in areas such as pensions, VAT and on the budget surplus before releasing 7.2 billion of funds which have been delayed since February. And on to sport. Nico Rosberg precedes teammate Lewis Hamilton to the fastest time in accident-packed first participants, the Austrian Grand Prix. Both were among number drivers who ran at the penultimate constant, all shrugged to find cool conditions at the third bowl. Rosberg was 0.30 burns ahead of Hamilton and was on a lap that would be the fastest before Aero. It's a wrap on Midnight Update. Thanks for watching. My name remains Omotayo. Hello. Have a lovely night rest.